This is a video about the internal thought processes of a catastrophizer. I should get the organic beef. It's less likely to have harmful chemicals. It comes in this plastic container. It's got microplastics on it. I should wash the meat to try to reduce the microplastics. Uh-oh, some of the water bounced off the meat onto my face. Uncooked meat can have tapeworm. Tapeworm eggs, when they're in your body, they can travel into your brain. I don't want any brain damage, so I better wash the possible tapeworm eggs off my face. Okay, the water has run down my cheek into my mouth, which was the opposite thing I wanted to have happen, because now the tapeworm eggs may have found their way into my body. I'm going to go into the shower because if I had a tapeworm egg in my brain, I could get brain damage. And if I got brain damage, I might start acting like a crazy person. And I don't want to become a crazy person doing crazy things. Right, so according to that, we enter different modes all the time, like overcompensating or detached self-soother or like angry child, and all these different modes that everyone enters into and they have all different triggers for. Now, wouldn't that be good to know? Like, wouldn't that be good to know in school? You know, like imagine you've got a TV, you use it every day and it's got a whole bunch of modes and things it can do, and you don't ever know about it, and you don't know what button is causing what to happen on the TV. You've just got no idea, except it affects everything you feel and how you relate to others for your entire life, and then you die and you never know. Wouldn't that be useful to know? Wouldn't that be useful to know? But what are you talking about, mate? What are you talking about? I'm talking about maladaptive schemas. There's been 18 maladaptive schemas that schema therapy has identified that tend to ruin people's lives. And you already know these schemas. You just don't know the language for it. For example, one of the maladaptive schemas is called Unrelenting standards. You know it as workaholism or perfectionists. Or another maladaptive schema, for example, the abandonment schema. You know these people as clingy or needy. Or, for example, the vulnerability to harm schema. You know these people as hypochondriacs, catastrophizers. And there's a whole bunch of other maladaptive schemas. So I'll briefly show them up on the screen and their colloquial name. And they'll be in the description if you want to learn more about them. Why do we have them? Why do people have maladaptive schemas? Well, the way that they form is as children developing, we have 5 core emotional needs. We have a need for safety, need for autonomy, we have a need for validation, we have a need for fun, and we have a need for boundaries. Okay, when these needs get threatened as a kid repeatedly, the more that your brain sees threats in the world, that it then overgeneralizes to see when they don't exist when you're an adult. And the reason we're not conscious of these beliefs seems to be a glitch of nature. The hardware that we're running, the amygdala, the threat detection part of your brain, is an ancient part of your brain that evolved all the way back in our past when we were fish swimming around in the ocean. These ancient parts of our brain, these threat detection amygdala system, they have some major flaws. One flaw is that you have to act instantly. And this is why it's often unconscious, these beliefs. Let's say you're swimming and you see a shadow in the water. You have to get out of the water as quickly as possible because chances are it's a shark that's going to eat you. You don't have time to like consciously think through what's going on. And then flaw number 2 is that our brain overgeneralizes. So that shadow in the water could well be a happy dolphin that's bringing you a lemonade and a packet of jelly beans. But it could also be a shark. So it's much safer as far as the evolution of our species has gone to get false positives than it would be to not react. All of our ancestors that waited around to see if the rustling in the bushes was a tiger or not, they died, right? So this threat detection part of the brain operates very fast and it overgeneralizes.
Nature documentaries, right? They're just the most horrendous, like endless carnage. You know, they're just apples ripping each other apart. You know, they're just like, it's just sex and death. just like animals murdering each other and then eating the murdered corpse so they have enough energy to go fuck something. It's far more brutal than any true crime, and it's far more sexually perverted than anything on Pornhub. You know, we don't appreciate how dark it is because they've got some classy British voice like David Attenborough going, it's nature, it's beautiful. So I think what we've got to do to highlight that is we should have David Attenborough voice over true crime. And Jeffrey Dahmer murdered this person, and ate his heart and had sex with his corpse, in a dance as old as time itself.
Because as a kid, it was a shark, metaphorically. And so now as an adult, anytime you see a shadow, you think it's a shark, even when it is a friendly person. For example, with the abandonment schema, you're a kid and your parents always pick you up late from school. You never know when they're going to come. The parents might just leave you in the house by yourself without telling you what's going on. You've experienced that injury as a kid, and now as soon as your boyfriend walks outside to mow the lawn, you think you're never going to see him again. Or for example, the vulnerability to harm schema, the one I remember, as a kid, I drank from a fruit can, but it was actually turpentine, which if it had gone down my lungs could have killed me. So all the parents are freaking out, there's danger, I'm internalizing all that. So in my brain now as an adult, I'm like, fruit cans, even fruit's gonna kill you. So I'm seeing threats everywhere. So no wonder I'm washing meat. Or when it comes to unrelenting standards, a parent could be hypercritical. The kid's like, oh, I got an A today, Dad. And the parent's like, why didn't you get an A+? What's wrong with you? And then the kid's like, oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I must always work harder. Unrelenting standards, perfectionism. I'm never good enough. One of the side effects of your brain misfiring off one of these threats that aren't real is that it diminishes your ability to empathize.
Apparently what happens when you argue, right, and you get like flustered and you're like upset and shit, apparently what happens is the blood drains out of your frontal lobes, the thinking part of your brain. And so you're just left with like the chimpanzee in charge. Just there going, fucking get rid of the kids, fucking take them to the forest, fucking put them in a dish. No one's gonna miss them. They're fucking right. The thing is, the only other organ I know that stops working when the blood drains out is the penis. So I think it'd be really useful if we did actually have penises on our heads. That way you could tell when you're being irrational. Like when you've lost your shit and you go, fucking get rid of them. Fucking get rid of little fucking parasites. No, calm down, just breathe. No, I see where you're coming from actually. I do apologise. I do apologise. I don't think we can murder our children.
Now this makes sense back in ancient times when there were tigers, they were going to rip you apart that you needed to run from or fight. But it doesn't work in the modern era when wrongly perceive your partner is abandoning you and then you start acting like your partner's a tiger. You don't empathize with the tiger. Like if you see a tiger threatening you, you don't go, oh, how is the tiger? And wonder how the tiger's day was. You just perceive a threat. When you're running away from a tiger, you don't empathize with yourself. What I mean is you don't try to understand how you're feeling. You don't go, and how does the tiger make me feel? When these schemas get activated, and we feel threatened, it massively diminishes our ability to empathize. And that makes it far more likely to have conflict with other people. So here's a personal example of how maladaptive schemas can take us over and destroy our relationships. So I've seen a girl who liked getting tattoos, and there's a very small chance that tattoo ink could have some toxic chemicals in it that might harm someone or potentially harm any children that they might have growing inside of them. And I got hyper fixated on this to the point where I lost the ability to empathize with her in that moment. And so I started to guilt trip her. Yeah, don't you think it's a little bit selfish getting a tattoo to potentially give our child cancer? Don't you think that's a little bit selfish? I'm basically saying to her, you're a selfish bad person. And if you're a good person, you'll do what I want you to do with your body. And so it became a point of conflict in our relationship. For some reason, she was putting my womb that was in her body at risk. Elon Musk, I think he's got an unrelenting standard schema. So he's never achieving enough. He's never got enough social status. And a good example of this is how he got busted for cheating, saying he had the #1 video game account on a video game. And he was caught lying because he clearly didn't know how the game worked, even though he had the #1 score for this video game. So it was pretty clear he paid someone to grind up that account for him so he could convince other people. Not only did he have like a rocket company and Neuralink and all these other AI companies, that wasn't enough for him to feel special enough. He needed to go get video game clout. Because the way unrelenting standards work is if you're not perfect, you're nothing. It's black and white thinking that you're unlovable. You can never achieve perfection. It's an addiction. It's insatiable. And that's probably why he's got 14 children. They're not because he loves children and being a dad. They're just an extension of his ego. There's no way he could be a good father with 14 kids and do all these other things at the same time. He can't be emotionally available for those children. They're going to end up on a therapist couch one day and they'll be talking to therapists. Oh, my dad was, really distant. The therapist will be like, oh, what do you mean? He was on Mars. Like, imagine needing to watch the Joe Rogan podcast to try to feel close to your dad. And so Elon, seemingly his life is in part collapsing because of the unrelenting standards. Like, he's estranged from his child. At least one of his children has constantly publicly criticizes him and has no relationship with him. His fixation on status has made him partner with dubious personalities in politics like Trump. And then that's all fallen apart. So now he's alienated people on both the left and the right of the political spectrum. When he tried to stream himself playing this video game with this account that he paid someone to grind up, there's a live stream footage of him playing it. And all the comments are just, everyone hates you, you suck. And it's the most depressing thing I've ever seen. So this guy who wants other people to love him, unconsciously thinks that if he achieves all this stuff, he'll be lovable. His fixation with achievement means that now a lot of people really fucking despise him. What does he get to do? He just sits there live streaming, just people go, we fucking hate you, you suck. A nightmare. But he may have no conscious insight into any of that. So that's how schemas can fuck your life up. And that's just one of them. And most people have more than one schema.